Warning: the following content contains language that may be inappropriate for younger viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Welcome to the Let's Get Heavy podcast, your exclusive backstage pass to the realm of heavy music. Join us as we engage in conversation with amazing bands, promoters, and emerging talents who are making wave in the scene. This episode, we are chatting with Dan, Nathan, and Michael from black and death metal band known as Sathamel. We dive into the band's history and their current EP, Opposition to Life. So without further ado, let's get heavy.
So guys, first of all, want to welcome you to Get Heavy UK, where we like to highlight bands and try and promote a bit of positivity throughout the metalverse. I'm Stevie. It's nice to meet you. We've got Nathan, Michael, and Daniel. Am I saying the band name correctly? Sathamel.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm kidding, because I normally butcher names. I'm terrible. So my first question is, what does Sathamel mean?
I think that's a good one for Nathan. All I know is that it's the name of a demon. I'm not into demons whatsoever, so there you go.
Yeah, so like back in the day when we formed the band, we went under a different name called Sheol, which was like abode of the dead in like Jewish mythology and that sort of thing. So we had that name for about 9 months, and then it turned out that there were loads of bands called that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we just decided basically we were going to change it before it was too late. But when we released our original like live demo, we got a bit of press like through Terrorizer magazine and stuff like that. So we were kind of like, how do we make sure that the people of the internet know that it is the same band? So we stuck with the letter S, and then I just basically, because all the songs back then, we were being like uber original and just writing songs about demons and things. We decided to, I took it upon myself to look through a grimoire, and basically Sathamel came about, and it just kind of was the best looking of the lot, I guess. It looks cool on a t-shirt, it kind of rolls off the tongue, and it was something that nobody had really ever heard of at the time, so we went for that. And
a specific demon it refers to?
Yeah, so there's a demon called Sathamel, and it's basically a judgment figure. So at the time we felt like it resonated with us because we were all kind of like edgy and stuff like that. But now it's more, it just, for me, and I think I speak for the rest of the guys, it is just the name of the band at that point.
I think a massive part of that name was also, so I remember in the grimoire, you'd also get the sigils of each demon on the page. And we just really liked the sigil for Sathamel as well. We just thought it looked really cool on banners and merchandise and stuff. So I think that was also a very big factor in the name decision.
I thought it might just be my inner nerd coming out, or geek was coming out, and I was thinking of more Warhammer 40k. That's where I thought the name originated from, to be honest with you. But obviously not.
Yeah, we've got a song called Abaddon, and that's about the demon Abaddon. But I believe that's a 40k reference as well.
It is. Abaddon is a character, yes. And we're not referring to, obviously, Abaddon from here in the UK for Venom fans. But take us back to the beginning of the band. How did Sathamel come to be? What were the early influences and goals of the band?
So I think where it started is, so me and Pat, who's not on this call, our guitarist now, we used to be in a first band called Cape Messiah, and we just hit the point where everyone was going either to uni or getting full-time jobs and whatnot, so it was kind of difficult to keep that going, so we basically split up. And then I already knew Nathan at that point, and I knew that Nathan has the same influences as me, and he would be the only guy that I know that would actually want to open a band which would wear cops paint on stage. So we got together, and obviously we both liked bands like Belphegor, Behemoth, Vertain, and that's how that happened. So yeah, we started Saf of the Shield, and obviously it then became Sathamel, and we've had a few iterations of the band by this point over the years. But yeah, this is essentially the story. Yeah, so I think the reason so after COVID we decided to ditch the Cops Paint look of the band, the theatrical in that sense.
Mm.
I just think it came to it. I think we just tried to come back more as ourselves. So I remember one evening I was just looking through Facebook during the lockdowns, and I just, looking at memories of the glorious past, and I just found all the images with me wearing Cops Paint. There were not good images of myself, so I just thought, do you know what? When we come back, we'll do it. We'll do it as Dan, Nathan, and the rest. So yeah, this is the newest iteration of the band. Where it's just us playing extreme music without the black metal theatrics to it, I think.
Mm. More black and death metal, would you say? Kind of a mix of the both.
Yeah. I think nowadays, yeah, definitely more on the death metal side of things. Yeah.
Mm. So, how long has the band actually been going for? Am I right in thinking 2017?
It'll be before that, I think. It'll be 2015, maybe. I think that's
Oh,
when we
right.
released our first live EP.
The first EP came out in like 2014, I think. So we recorded that 2013. So yeah, we're old as fuck.
I was judging on like releases on Spotify. It goes back to 2017, so that's why I naturally assumed that's how long it's been a band for. But
Yeah.
going
So
even longer, that's amazing. Quite an
yeah,
achievement.
the Spotify thing for ages. We had Bandcamp, but apart from that, it was like Bandcamp or physical media. So like we didn't really jump on the digital like distribution until 2017. So and at the time when we uploaded the EP, the original EP, and everything like prior to 2017, it all shows us that because I think it was still in its infancy then, so you couldn't adjust the release date.
So we can say 2014 been going well, coming into your 11th year now,
Yeah.
hitting into 2025. Amazing achievement because you don't see most bands surviving past 3 to 4 years. Do you know what I mean? Personally,
It
especially here in the Newcastle area, anyway.
it is difficult. Like I said, we had so many different iterations of the band with different members and different looks and whatnot. It has been tough. To be fair, we did have some couple of hiatuses in the meantime. So yeah, it's not been easy. Yeah, but it is what
It
it is.
never is. Exactly. But you're still going strong. That's the main thing. And like you say, you've had some lineup changes, and you've acquired Michael. When did you join the band, Michael?
Firstly, 2021, and then we had some basically had some issues with the job and stuff like that, and had to kind of put it on hold. But then we just like started taking it mega seriously. I would say somewhere around the start of 2023, I started being like, right, okay, this is what's happening. This is the goal, establish some sort of round and go from there. So I would say properly maybe it's like a year and a half.
So were you aware of the band before you joined, or?
Only in like certain circles and certain groups, but I had never like um, really listened to it or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, love the music, so I just joined right up my
I was
street.
going to say, was that what piqued your interest straight away? The sound, the vibe.
Yeah, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely.
So continuing on with the early days though, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced in them days?
Ooh, that's a good one. So other than the name change, I think it was just. So I think we start. This is quite a silly one actually, but I think when we started playing in Sathamel, we actually used to cover "Of Fire and the Void" by Behemoth, and I think we've done that for the first few months of of the band, and it was just quite difficult to shake off that impression that we left on people, where people came to see us play Behemoth songs rather than us play our songs. So I think it was quite, yeah, it took a lot of gigging with our own material to get over that step. It was quite annoying at the time, but yeah, I guess it helps. I guess it helped in a way.
Any other
And
challenges?
we always had the kind of I think it was a long time coming with the dropping of the corpse paint and all that sort of thing, because even though it's so strange, because even though we were wearing corpse paint and we had this look about us that was like we've got all the blood, we've got everything like that, we don't look how we look normally. We were always kind of sidelined as a death metal band at that point, so it was like we weren't black metal enough for the black metal people, but we looked the way we looked, so it wasn't death metal. And then when we came back and we released Take the Rock, which came out last year, well, 2 years ago now, nearly, everyone was like, oh yeah, this is completely black metal. And we were like, no, it's not. Because, well, it is if you want to pigeonhole it, but in some ways, but literally we couldn't win with what people's perception of us was. And it's still like Dan said, we get compared to Behemoth, but we've seen a comment on one of our videos and the guy's like, oh, Behemoth much. Then straight up asked him, like, what song album are you referring to? Because we want to
To be
know.
fair though, regardless of the genre, if you just want to wear corpse paint, mate, just go for it. Doesn't
Oh
matter
yeah.
what. You
Oh
know
yeah,
what I
I
mean?
know that. Yeah, like it wasn't a decision that was taken with like people saying like you need to wear this or you need to look a certain way. We've never listened to that, and that's why we had corpse paint for so long. But it was just a kind of thing like, right, when we come back now, we're going to cast off that side of it, and we're just going to be as authentic as we can be. This is us, and this is what we want to do.
Must be better doing live shows though, not having because I can imagine live shows sweaty as fuck, just face paint matted to your face.
It's so much easier. So honestly, like, because obviously in small venues you don't get your own like bathrooms or showers or whatever, so you just do it in the sinks, with like next to the punters, whatever. They're just looking at you like, who the fuck's this guy covered in blood? So yeah, you end up, cleaning yourself in the sink, and then you leave a massive mess, so just to make sure you get booked again and you don't piss off, the pub owner or whatever. You also clean up the fucking bathroom as well, the toilet. It's like it's just adds so much work on top of it. But it is fun when you do it. It is fun to kind of get into a character every now and then and just like, act that out in a sense, yeah.
The kind of
But
celebrating 10 years last year. Did you bring back like for a special show the corpse paint, like the theatrics sort of thing?
I'm
no,
disgusted.
no.
Yeah, I'm disgusted though. Like Halloween or something. I'm disgusted.
You should have. That would have been mint.
Yeah. Who knows?
Missed opportunity now though.
Maybe
No.
one day, maybe on a like 30th birthday or something, we'll do it.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Go for it. Come to Newcastle and do it though.
Oh yeah.
So obviously you was going through the COVID days as well. How did you survive through the COVID days? Was that when you took a hiatus?
It was a hiatus, yeah. I think it was just so difficult, obviously, to get together and like work on music. Like how we wrote then. It would be me and Nathan meeting up for a weekend at East Place or whatever, and we just like jam out a few riffs and put songs together from those riffs and whatnot. So obviously during COVID, you can't do that because of the quarantines and stuff. So yeah, it was just difficult. Yeah, to be fair, I had a creative block for like 2 years after that because it was just so difficult to get over that. This kind of like moment of limbo. I don't know. It's just so weird. But yeah.
I felt
What did you find,
COVID
Nathan?
as well. I mean, COVID as well. It's kind of sparked a lot of people's writing creativity to start writing again.
Yeah. I think it changed the mindset a lot. So, like we said, the ditching of the makeup and all that stuff. But we also in the songs, I think our songs have become a bit. It's still the same sort of sound and whatnot. But I think in terms of like how we write the songs, how we structure them, what we include in them and whatnot, I think we just became different people during that time. We've grown up. We maybe listened to things we wouldn't listen normally before that. And a lot of it is, has come to to what we sound like now. Even the lyrical context and whatnot. A lot of it explores, feeling loneliness and depressions and whatnot, and then a lot of things, related to the quarantines, what we went through, deaths. I think in a lot of ways, if you really put under magnifying glass, you'd see a lot of these influences in what we sound like now.
Mm. What about yourself, Nathan?
Well, I was like a key worker and I worked for civil service, so it was kind of like where most people had stopped work or had reduced hours or got hybrid working or anything like that. I was working 6 days a week constantly, and it got to a point where like I had one day off, and I sort of just took that and I did a lot of hiking and all that sort of stuff during, like a lot of people did during lockdown. So just trying to escape for a while. So like music was sort of on the back burner just before COVID as well, and during the lineup changed again for the band. So like we invited Pat and Dale and Michael into the band probably after the lockdowns had ended. So in that time, it was kind of like, well, the band's on hold. I've got this limited time. I need to enjoy my life as much as I can, because who knows what's around the corner at that time. Like everybody was told to stay inside all the time. It was like, what is actually going on? But then when it opened up, like it definitely sparked creativity. I think the majority of the writing for me for this last EP came about the end of 2021, 2022. So that was all the material that I put towards our newest EP. It was a good time. It was definitely a good thing to reset the band, it felt like.
Yeah. And for yourself, Michael, because that was when you're kind of starting with the band, isn't it? Pretty much the end of COVID. Would you say the COVID times is what sparked you to? Because I wasn't sure. Were you in bands before Sathamel? Is this what kind of?
Yeah. I was in a couple. Never really came to much fruition. But yeah, I mean, I was working quite a lot during COVID as like I was doing the takeaway deliveries, and I would come in and all that, and like
Doing a
I
public
would
service
really
for our Gregs, you know.
Of course. So yeah, when I would come in and stuff like that, and I'd see everybody else like doing so, I'd get creative as well. And then I'll sort of like, excuse me, just basically got the knack for it again and kind of started looking up for new bands and stuff.
So for yourself, then continuing with your solo, Michael, how did you actually find Sathamel? Was it through? Did you guys approach Michael, or did you approach the band?
So I was approached by a previous member of the band, who was obviously not with us anymore. And yeah, I just kind of met up with him, had a jam, went well. Took it from there, really.
Instant chemistry for you?
I'd say more or less, yeah.
Yeah,
Some of the songs got to me.
I just want to say, yeah, Nathan, Daniel, was it the same for you guys?
I actually remember the day when we found Michael. I think it was just when when the quarantines and lockdowns kind of went in the past, whatever. And we were actually sat on the sofa in my house, and the previous member of the band, Haj, we were just sat there and we just thought like, oh, since this is all opened up again, should we get a band together and actually start doing this again? And he just posted on some message board on Facebook looking for a drummer, and like within 10 minutes we just had this Michael pop up, and yeah, the rest is history. I remember being so fucking happy about that, because we're just like, we actually have a drummer now. Let's fucking go for it. Yeah.
So how long has this lineup been together? This current lineup?
With our bassist Dale, I think he joined, what is it, like halfway through last year, maybe?
Yeah, just over a year or something.
Yeah. So it's still quite fresh in that sense, but in terms of like Mike and Pat, we've been going for, I don't know, a couple of years now, 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, we properly like set up again, what, end of 2022, 2023, we started rehearsing and trying to write properly.
after I finished working away.
Nice one. So, going into your discography, so you told us that you released a live EP back in 2014. Is that correct?
Yeah, around
What
that
was
time.
what was the title of that?
It was just called Sheol because we'd released it as that other band, and then as it transitioned, we just kept the name the same.
Right, I see. Because then in 2017 you released your self-titled Sathamel.
That
Looking
came
back,
out in 2015.
fair enough.
Spotify's wrong. That's all.
No, that's
Yeah.
fair enough. Maybe that's when you've uploaded it to Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2015 is when the self-titled came out. So looking back, nearly 10 years now on that, what are your thoughts on that initial release?
Ooh, do you know what? I think I mean, we still play one of the songs, Abaddon live. You know, it's the song that just gets everyone going in the audience. It just works every single time, and it's one of my, I think, least favorite songs that we have as well because it's so simple and there's so little vocals to it. So yeah, but it just works. But yeah, we had songs like Venus, Morning Star, which I think it, in hindsight, it's a bit long. I think we like trimmed it down to like a radio cut, whatever. It would still work quite well in a current set. I think, it still has choruses, good verses and whatnot. There's a good solo in it. Um, yeah, I think, a lot of it is still, I'd say it's still good. It still sounds like us somehow, even though it's been 10 years ago. Yeah.
How was the reception when it first dropped?
It was quite good, to be fair. Yeah, like I said, Venus is just it was just a song that people really liked listening to and seeing live for some reason. I remember getting so much positive feedback on that song, for the layers in that song and whatnot. Yeah, that's my memory from that time.
Yeah, Venus became like a signature track, didn't it, for a long while, and
Yeah,
it was kind of like that was the song that people want to hear. It's just like it's just got that horrible like dirgy riff to it that just repeats. And if you listen to it, I'd like to think that that one is definitely one that kind of sticks in your head, and that's probably why it's so long because we enjoy playing that one riff.
yeah, and I remember back in the day, even though it's so long, like because back in the day we played without click tracks and whatnot, and our drummer at the time, he liked to really speed the songs up live. So I remember just like, that song's like 7 minutes long, and there were nights where we played it in like 6 maybe, or so yeah, it's fucking hell, yeah.
And that song ended up on the second album, so your first full release album. Is that, I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing this album name correctly, Horror Vacui? I know it's Latin. I'm not sure.
No. So Venus came out as a live track on the live demo, and then it came out again on the first EP that we did. That was actually studio recorded. But no, in Horror of Aqui, that's when we went to newer material altogether.
So tell me about the album name, because all I know about it is it's Latin. So what's the story behind the album name?
So Horror Vacui is a Latin term for fear of empty space in art. So what's a good example? So do you know Behemoth's Evangelion album cover? In the background, you have those like kind of lines that fill the empty space. So that's basically what you call that. It's one of that's what you'd call that sort of practice. And yeah, I've always struggled with writing lyrics. I always had, every single release we had, I've always had a creative block. So I just picked that concept as to express that kind of blockage, because it was the fear of leaving an empty space where I should be doing something for the songs. I think that's kind of how I understood it. Yeah.
Anyone else want to touch on?
No, I think it kind of did.
Yeah.
It with that. And it was.
So,
sorry.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, it's kind of shown in like the album cover as well. We just picked like a black background, like there was nothing to it. It was just kind of like this is the music, and there's, again, we still had the corpse paint then, but there's no like bells and whistles to it. It was kind of like we're putting it out there.
I like that though, that cover, to be honest with you, because a lot of people, I don't think AI was too much of in 2019 around then, but yeah, just the logo, back album cover. It's like a bronzy golden logo that you're using on it. It looks sick.
Yeah, so the idea for that was, in my hometown in Poland, we have the biggest cemetery in Europe, and there's a lot of graves that are basically just, black stone with golden writing on it. It's very sort of gothic, very elegant, and I've always liked that look. I thought it was very, sharp, but also obviously dark. So I just, one day, me and Nathan were just discussing album cover for this album, and I just said to him like, look, let's just do that, and he was like, yeah, sick. Fine.
Did you have any ambitions for this release?
No. To be fair, I think we released it like we got the final mix from Sam at Ritual Studio, who's been working with us on every release ever. And we've released it like next week. There was no marketing campaigns. There was no nothing. It was just, we got the music, put it out there, see how it does. Because we just wanted to get an album out. I think that's what it was. We just wanted to have something out there without any sort of deeper thought to it. Yeah. It was quite crazy actually to release an album that way.
Any lyrical themes? What lyrical themes do you explore on this album?
Yeah, I think so. It's a funny thing because when people review our music, they still say that I write about demons and the occult and Satan and whatnot. And I've not done that since the very, very initial, the first days.
I think that's what most black metal, death metal bands get tarnished with. It's like a stereotype.
Yeah, but you just kind of tell when someone's actually done the research and like read the lyrics too, because if you read them, you'd know there's nothing there about Satan or anything like that. So no, it's those songs were basically about really not fitting in. There's always it seems like mental health is always a topic I write about, depressions and anxiety and whatnot. I also write about other people. When I see somebody go through this or that, I just get inspired and write about them. Yeah, that's essentially that. Really, struggling with anger management as well. That was one as well. Yeah.
Big respect on the mental health aspect.
Yeah, it's always been there. It's always been there for one reason or another.
Needs talked about more, so big respect on that.
I think mental health and that sort of aspect of life is becoming a bit more frequently discussed in black metal. I think a lot of bands nowadays, especially the modern black metal bands, they like to play with conventional black metal. What it is, obviously, back in the day, if you're a black metal band, you have to sing about Satan because that's just how it is. That's just the sound that you go for. But, nowadays, I think a lot of bands kind of moved on from that to mental health, death, etc., human condition. We have bands like Anti-Inferno. I'm pretty sure their latest album is all about just death. So,
it's just, at the end of the day, it's just expressing yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just a way of expressing yourself. So
I've always found it interesting with black metal because, when black metal first emerged, it was supposed to be a play on what we take for granted in music. So, your structures, you get your verses and choruses and whatnot and all that. Obviously, black metal was just chaos, really. That was just like, it was supposed to go against the grain. And then as the years went on, a lot of black metal became very blueprinty, everyone kind of stuck to the same kind of idea what black metal should be. And so there's that irony, trying to go against the grain, yet somehow ending up within a box. It's, yeah.
So I think, and then obviously it's had a bit of a bad reputation coming up with places like Norway though as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always one person that's got to spoil it for everybody else.
Yeah, I know. It's that Abath meme when somebody asked him about, why didn't you burn any churches when you were active? It's like, well, they'd only use more money to build another one.
Because not every black metal band does that.
Yeah.
Get past the stereotype. People just like writing heavy, aggressive music, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then moving into 2023, guys, in 2024, you released Take the Lot, Ad Nauseum, and is it Perennial Flock? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Three absolutely banging tracks. I believe we featured Ad Nauseum on our Twitch channel, which is, like I say, absolutely sick. And the majority, looking at them on YouTube, they've managed to generate collectively nearly 30K in views. Fantastic work, lads. And on these three songs, well, first of all, Take the Lot. What's Take the Lot about?
So that was one of the songs that was inspired by COVID and kind of how people understood. Not really that. It was about vaccines and media, really. So Take the Rot was supposed to be God. Right. So we knew some very strong anti-vax. Not they weren't strong. They were very strongly into anti-vaccines.
Mhm.
And I just found whether it's right or not, it's not the really point. It's rather how you'd have somebody who would read some article somewhere or read the news or kind of follow the alt media and then claim to be more informed than somebody who's actually studied medicine and has been in it for tens and tens of years. And it's Take the Rot is essentially supposed to mean take the misinformation in that sense. The whole COVID debate was just the basis for that kind of thought process, but that's what it is. It's about the fake news things and all that stuff. So the Rot
Which
is the
there is a
news.
lot, which is there is a lot around these days, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like it's getting worse.
Oh yeah, it's like I
I'm not
see
sure if you guys
I see
are on
every day.
TikTok or anything like that, but TikTok, my God, the amount of misleading information on TikTok is unreal.
Even big media
Honestly.
nowadays, the way they phrase the headlines and the articles and whatnot, it's all very carefully selected wording and whatnot. Like as somebody who works in marketing and copywriting and all this stuff, like I kind of see what's behind the curtain a little bit more, and it's just so manipulated. Everything has an agenda.
Mm. Any other takes, Nathan, Michael, on Take the What?
I never really got that from the lyrics, which is kind of weird because I mean I'm in the band, but Dan's very secretive with his lyrics quite often, and we don't usually see them until we're actually recording. So even in like the writing process, it could be that Dan won't do he won't do a pre-production because we usually try to demo stuff and fire it between us, and it's only in the studio when on the day when he's going to do it, or it might be that we've had a couple of rehearsals and he's screamed the lyrics, obviously, like his vocal style, so it's hard to pick up on what he's saying. For me, that song kind of almost felt like this is the band Rebirth song. Like reading the lyrics, it's on about it feels to me like casting away something old and bringing up something new. At least to the end of the song. And yeah, I always kind of took that. It's probably an interesting take for Dan to hear because we never really discussed it. But yeah, it had that kind of aura for me. And
This is what I've always liked about music because it's subjective. Because what Dan's just explained completely. Do you know what I mean? So it's whatever you take from it at the end of the day.
yeah.
But this would have been your first song with the band. Is that correct, Michael?
Yeah, so I mean, my thought process going into it was just like, okay, I'm a new drummer. It's the first song I'm going to do with them. I'm just going to go for it. Pretty much just cram as many notes into a song as humanly possible. And, I think I did that right with it. It wasn't that deep with me.
And that's what you did. That's literally what you did. I mean, in pretty much every single review or impression that we had on that song is just like, wow, this Michael guy, he's fucking fast. Like, yeah.
That's
And
mint.
the thing is, like, if you ever got down to like listening to the original demo of that song, and when we went into the studio, like the drums were pretty pedestrian in comparison, and Michael just took that song to a completely different level. Like, we went in with a demo, and we came out with a fully fleshed out, like, this song can stand on its own. And there's very few songs that I think we could have done that with in the past, and I just feel like that's why Take the Rock was so far ahead. Like, as a single, we were just like, we need to get this song out now and give it the kind of justice it deserves.
So I probably should have asked earlier on though, but give us a basic rundown of how a song is normally recorded by you. Do you do it all in one group, or do you trade backwards and forwards?
Or all backwards and forwards. It's like usually we'll get a riff through a couple of little different sections and kind of go from there. See who's got ideas. We do a lot on like Discord and like kind of sort of get like fleshing the drums out a little bit, and then I'll go back to the drum set and then do it again. And then you just kind of like rinse and repeat until it's like we'll feel happy with it or satisfied with it.
Anything else?
Yeah, a song to be like heard on a CD or whatever on a release is never like completed until it's run by Sam. Like, we'll do all the demo in, we might rehearse it, we might not. It depends how many songs we've got and how much time we've kind of allowed ourselves. But then we go to the studio, Ritual Sound, with Sam Turbit, who's like immense. That's why we worked on like everything that we have with him, because he knows us. He's just a good lad. He's a good mate, and he's totally like got the final release in mind, like the whole time. So it's just kind of like we'll put everything together how we feel like we're now in a position to go to a studio, and then you might have the guitar lines that you've written out completely. The themes will stay, everything will stay, but then like the drums are going to Michael. Like, he is drum king at that point. So if he feels like something's changing, he'll try a beat out on a certain section. We'll sit up in the control room and be like, yeah, that's sick, or no, don't do that. Stick with the original thing. And it's a complete like collaborative effort up until like we get the mixes back. Because Sam puts his 2 pence in, he's like, why don't you move that, or like chop this in half, or I feel like that's more dynamic if you've got this kind of effect going on here. So yeah, it's always like a learning process, and it's always a collaborative one, which is way better than just like, I feel like some bands might just be, this is how I want it to sound and this is what we're doing and that's it. Which you might as well record it at home.
When you're writing these, and did you ever stumble upon any happy accidents when writing?
Yeah, Take the Rock's a perfect example of that. I mean, we literally went straight in there with a completely like different like mindset on how it was going to sound and all that. And then had Sam's influence. He's like almost an unofficial member. And yeah, it came out just completely different. And like, I think it was all for the best.
Yeah, like
any other happy accidents?
All the riffs and everything like that in Take the Rock are exactly how they are on the demo, if you like. Apart from the odd bits of effect, and there's like a tap section. But apart from that, like, the structure itself is as it was. But then, like we say, Michael went down into the drum room and just absolutely killed it, adding different beats and different, like, just gave it a completely different driving force behind it, which made the song for me.
So continuing, you did Ad Nauseum and Penwell Flock as well, both giving vibes off the referencing governments. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah. So Ad Nauseum, I think is just it was mainly about, again, more of a human sort of thing. It's the futility of doing things. We learn and then we forget. We build stuff and then we demolish it during wars and whatnot. So it's that kind of futility of what we do as a human race. I think the chorus kind of highlights it, and certain moves that we do in terms of culture and sociology. There's a line in that song about how we've moved away from religion to submitting polls and lizard people and all this stuff. So it is kind of talking about governments, but only as far as the human kind of input goes into that. If that makes sense. And Perennial Flock, it's still kind of along the same lines. It's just somehow, even though no matter how much we fuck up, we still somehow survive all our fuck ups to move on.
That was a powerful message.
Yeah, I mean, nobody fucking reads it, so it's all about Satan, anyways.
Boom.
Yeah.
What can I say? Can't argue with that.
No.
And again, moving forward, continuing to evolve, you're adding those 3 songs with "Oh War," am I saying that one correctly? And
Yeah.
Opposition to Life, which became the Opposition to Life EP. Again, like I say, it showcases the band's evolution. What were the key themes and influence behind the entire release?
To be fair, there were a lot. I feel like it shifted with every song that I wrote because essentially, I kind of get to have a say in the titles. But yeah, it's every song kind of the way we wrote it. It's we've not wrote these songs as a batch of songs. We went from one to the other, and it was step by step kind of thing. So because every song as we wrote it felt fresh and new and different, the overall concept changed for the EP, and we didn't have a title for this EP right until we recorded Opposition to Life, which was the last track we recorded. And then we just thought, yeah, that's a good title. Although I had a different idea for something else, but no one would let me do that because apparently it was weak, which I disagree with. But whatever. It'll come back. I'll have you know that title will come back at some point.
Hands on. Let's not start arguments.
Yeah. Like once we get a really
Internal
shoegazy song title, you'll know when it's out. But yeah, no, I think for the longest period of time, it was the theme of futility, as as discussed in Ad Nauseam. I think that was the initial idea that we've had. Yeah, it just felt like the right topic because we just came out of COVID, and then as that happened, we suddenly have this war in Ukraine, and it's just like, what's the fucking point, really? Like, lads, come on, It was that kind of feeling of it all being pointless. That kind of inspired this EP, I think. Yeah.
Well, that EP was my introduction into the band, and banging, absolutely fantastic, lads. I personally, my personal favorite is "Oh War" because of the riffs. It's just absolutely sick. I'm a sucker for riffs. What can I say? And I felt that was just for me, just my personal favorite. So any Sathamel fans out there, please don't shoot me if that's not the best song out there, but to me, that's the strongest song. Absolutely sick, man. But what can fans expect from a live Sathamel show? What's the atmosphere like and the energy like at a live event?
I don't know. I've never seen us.
You've never seen your live? never watched yourself back?
No, I might just quit
You've heard
for
yourself though, from that live EP, so you've heard yourself at least.
I had this idea for a long time now. I'm just going to quit the band for a few months, wait for them to get somebody to replace me, go watch them live with a new vocalist, be like, you know what, the band was sick, but the vocalist fucking sucks, and then come back having that knowledge. But yeah, I don't know. We still like to have this black metal edge, even though we don't do the makeup and all this stuff. We still want to be savage in that sense, but yeah, I don't know. We just nowadays, I think we're a bit more precious about actually performing the songs correctly, rather than being in your face. We have click tracks and in-ear monitoring and stuff, so So I think the emphasis is on that a bit more nowadays. And the songs themselves, I don't know. For me, they feel a bit more technical, a bit more involved. I don't know if Nathan and Mike will agree or not, but yeah, I think that's kind of what it is now.
Any other takes?
I would definitely say like we just prioritize like the music, and I mean I would say intensity as well. I think we're trying to be as intense as we can for a live show. You know, but yeah, as as opposed to like
So
theatrics and stuff like that. Yeah, like no.
we are in 2025. What does 2025 hold for Sathamel?
So we're constantly working on new stuff. We've got some ideas floating around the space at the minute, but apart from that, it's just like live shows, kind of getting opposition to life as far out as we can, kind of promoting that as much as we can. We only put it out in November, so it'd be nice to kind of have like a bit of a cycle with opposition to life and just kind of live with that EP for a while. But yeah, we got some new stuff like coming up. Hopefully, can't I haven't got well, none of us have really got a timeline on that. But apart from that, I think yeah, just live shows. We've got some stuff probably towards the latter end of this year at least. We've got some shows coming up until March. So
Is that your first show of the year, March, so far?
no, first show is 1st February in London. We're playing at the Dev in Camden as part of the Retribution Alive show. It's called Dark Clouds Over Camden. So we'll be playing that show. It's a pretty cool lineup.
What's the lineup if you know off the top of your head?
There's Vehement and a few others.
Yeah, the Vehement definitely.
Put you on the spot there, sorry.
It's just like.
To be fair, no, I'm terrible with this stuff. Like he just said the date for the show. I'm just like, oh yeah, we're doing that. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. I know. I'm so bad with this.
Never check out who you're playing with.
Oh no, we do. Yeah.
It's always best to check who you're playing with.
Oh yeah, we always show up early and we usually last to leave as well. So we're a big advocate for bands watching other bands, especially if you're sharing the stage.
I respect that philosophy.
If you're on a show with a band, especially underground like us, definitely all muck in and all watch the people that you're supporting or are supporting you. That definitely is the way forward.
Doesn't always get returned though, that's the only problem.
Oh no. Been that before.
But, respect to you guys for doing that. Big respect for doing that, because that does boil my piss. I'm not going to lie. It really does boil my piss.
Yeah, even if you were a massive band or like the Eagles through the roof, you know, like there's these guys and they've come up, they've probably driven hundreds of miles to come and play a show. Like just be there and just stand and watch them, even if it's for like one song.
Yeah, like you say, especially in today's climate for travel and stuff, fuel costs. Do you know what I mean? For smaller bands, people don't seem to realise how much it costs for bands to get around.
For me, it's always been the camaraderie of it all. You know, at the end of the day, we're all in this scene together. We make this scene. We're all in the same kind of shoes. You know, we all trying to break through and reach more people and what that. So just having that level of support and feeling like you are a part of this community in UK, playing extreme metal, it just goes a long way. I think, just to know you're not alone in this.
Couldn't agree more.
Make friends and good connections as well.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. Very well said, Michael. So, guys, we're coming into some quick fire questions now before we call it an end. And the Get Heavy UK community will absolutely kick my arse if I didn't ask this question. Being from Newcastle, I've already pre-warned Michael, but what's your Greg's orders?
Greg's orders. Oh, Dan, you're like a Greg's connoisseur. You can go first.
Honestly, I'm surprised that I've not been endorsed by Greg's yet. I used to live on this shit, so I've not had Greg's for a long time recently, and then I just went crazy. Not really crazy, to be fair. That's just an average order that I used to have. 4 packets of sausage rolls, 1 chicken bake, 1 pepperoni pizza, and 1 bean, cheese, and sausage melt. This is
nice.
That's a breakfast right there.
That's a breakfast. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
mad.
well,
Well,
yeah.
Michael's our unsung hero of Newcastle. He drives the vans, doesn't he? So,
Top plastic provider.
I bet you've been tempted to pull over
So,
and
I mean,
sniff
if
of
we
them
go for
sausage
breakfast,
rolls.
I'll probably have like an omelette sandwich and a hash brown. If I'm gone, like, if I'm out and about for my dinner, I'll probably go like a steak, or I like them Aussie bites as well. They're quite nice.
Nice. Some good old yum
I
yums as
could,
well.
Red Bull.
Some yum yums as well.
Oh, I cool. But I get it all right.
That's what I'm saying. I bet you've been tempted to
Yeah.
pull over in the van a few times and get a smell of that fresh baked goods.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in the factory mostly. I'm in the factory mostly because, all the lads come in and then I get the trucks off them and all that kind of stuff. But
Oh, I bet you've got
off
some
topic,
stories in the factory.
of course.
We'll not get there though.
Drop yourself in it.
Oh, exactly. I'll probably get closed down by YouTube or something as well.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Nathan?
Probably just the only time I really go to Greg's is if we're on the road. So it would definitely be like sat in the back of the van with a couple of steak baits, but then obviously not from Greg's, but a tin of Tennant's.
Right.
Can you imagine though if they started selling that?
Yeah.
Game over.
I'd make a fortune that. Get 2 steak
I remember
baits
when
and
we went to
a can of
Ireland
Tennent's.
and we had like I literally opened the box and like tons of tenants fell out the back of the van.
Nice. Just hear that first snap
Yeah, pretty
open.
much.
Oh, Nathan's just cracked one open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
With me,
it's so
steak bacon
funny.
hand, can you though?
Yeah, we just place Nathan and Dale in the back of the van and just give him like 2 crates of Tennants, and this is them sorted for the whole tour. They don't talk, they behave themselves, you know. It's all good.
Who's
It's like
normally the designated driver? Is it yourself, Michael? Yep.
Yep.
It used to be me, so I'm making up for it for all those years.
Yeah.
Is that because Michael's got the bigger van or the bigger vehicle?
Yeah,
You didn't get on the
so
van anymore, did you?
COVID unfortunately took my van from me. The DPF blew off, and then that was it. It was done for.
Shit. Damn.
Yeah.
So, what's the most absurd story behind one of your song lyrics?
So me and my colleague from work, Oliver, we have this thing where we'll sometimes at work we'll just sit on the Skype chat all day and just like come up with the most interesting insults to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I've called him mismanagement of sperm once, and that's actually made it. That's actually a line in Opposition to Life, the song as well. So yeah, I guess this is the best one I've got. That's most recent. Yeah. Mismanagement of sperm.
If the band had to play a theme song for a reality TV show, which one would it be and why?
Don't watch much reality TV, to be honest.
No? Still think of something though.
I'm thinking.
I'd happily just hear Take the Rock before every single like news segment ever, to be fair, so I'll take that.
Or just Love Island or something, because you're definitely taking a fucking STI home.
Yeah.
If your band was a horror movie monster, what type of monster would you be and why?
Probably like a werewolf or something.
Werewolf?
Strong.
Probably
Any other
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein?
But, yeah, it's
Frankenstein.
Yeah, just a load of shit thrown together.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with
that. What are each of your guilty pleasure songs? So yes, you might be in this extreme metal band, but what are your guilty pleasures. What's a song that no one might think you've ever listened to?
Fuck. I actually had one recently. You go, guys, first. I'll try to remember.
I like Enya. Bit of Enya.
Why
To be
not?
fair.
Got to relax
If
to
you
something.
even consider that a guilty pleasure, I don't know.
Mate, why not? You got to relax to something at the end of the night.
That's
That's what Steve Hughes says.
it.
Listen to Slayer for fucking 12 hours.
I just like all the like stupid rap. Like I'm not even that into rap or anything like that, but during COVID, I got really into like Hobie Benjamin and Lonely Island and all that sort of thing. So
Oh, like
just for a laugh. Yeah, we've
the
listened to
parody
Michael
type
Bolton.
stuff.
Yeah, parody. Yeah, but it does bang, to be fair.
I don't know. For me, I think it's gonna be like all the cheesy pop songs from the 80s and 90s. I just find them so satisfying to listen to and memorable. But also, there's this one song that I've played during our tour in Ireland earlier this year called "The Dickhead Song" by Miles Betterman, and that fucking slayed. That slayed. And then that was Mike's call, and then we followed that by an hour of RuneScape music. After that, it was great.
That was the
That
most
is not a
RuneScape
guilty
from the
pleasure.
game.
That is not a guilty pleasure in my opinion.
No,
Elite
That's just
tunes.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. Well, since we're on ourselves, I don't know if any of you has joined our live Twitch stream, but for the past 3.5 years we've been doing this. We end on S Club 7 Reach for the Stars every stream. We end on that song.
strong.
And we did get Heavy Festival back in 2023, and we got a deathcore version done by Cast and Tefra, so it was absolutely sick. And then we did it again last year now technically, and then we got a thrash version. So we'll have to try. We've got metalcore. We've got metalcore because we were doing 2 days, so we've got Recall the Remains and Dog Tired, which is kind of like a you can say a sludge groove type thing for Dog Tired, and Recall the Remains of metalcore. So let's see if I can convince them if they'll do it. We'll see. What's the most unusual instrument you've ever tried to incorporate into your music? Or even sound? Like a sample?
Ooh, I think there is something ridiculous. So Sam from Ritual of Sound, he does all of our, like background sounds in production and stuff. And I'm pretty sure he had some really ridiculous instrument in one of our songs recently for the CP. I just can't remember what it was. Do you know, Nathan?
No, I do remember the conversation and kind of laughing about it, but
yeah,
because it
Was it
worked.
not for ad nauseum? I think it was for ad nauseum or something. I can't remember, but I remember it sounded sick, but I don't know what instrument it was.
yeah. No, but absolutely, yeah. I completely forgot what it was.
There was the time when Sam was like, "Oh, everything needs a shaker," and he had one of those eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 more for you guys. 2 more. If you could have a drinking contest with any other band, who would you choose and why? And who would win or lose?
Ooh, ow. Oh yeah. So no, I know exactly who I'm going to go for. So Tribulation. So we played with Tribulation a few years ago, and they've introduced us to this drink that they have in Sweden, which is you just mix red wine with Pepsi or Coke, and yeah, it kind of tastes like weak Buckfast in a sense. But yeah, I just go with that and drink that with them all night because it was quite lush actually. Yeah. Or any band
If I ever pick up drinking again, because I haven't had a touch of drink for over a year. If I ever pick up drinking, I might try it. But anyone? So that's your band. Any other bands?
Black Dahlia Murder. I know they like a drink. Or did, I don't know. But the old documentaries and all that, these little bit had them in time.
Definitely.
But like really fun.
Don't know. Probably just someone like massive who's massively into the drinking thing, like Amon Amarth maybe, that got songs about drinking all the time now and raising your horns and all that stuff. It's like I
Pantera
just give him a
Machine Head,
go.
of course.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! I just had a thought. Do you know Clanny? They have this vodka song.
Oh yeah,
Right.
It would be
Yes.
such a laugh to do that challenge with them.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Yeah.
And
That'd be
who's
so good.
gonna out of the 5 of your band, who's the first to basically bow out? Who's the first one to go down? And who's gonna be the last to survive?
definitely Pat.
Definitely
Pat's
Pat.
going to be the first because he doesn't even drink, does he?
No,
Fair
no.
enough.
He'll have a
Dale's gonna
pint
be the
of
last.
Guinness every now, but yeah, he died. Dale is definitely the last one standing. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he's the unit.
He's like a cockroach. If the apocalypse happened, we were all getting nuked by booze, and we all died, Dale would live after. He would be, the last survivor, definitely.
Nice. I love it. And finally, if you had to write a lullaby for the afterlife, what would the first line be?
Fuck it then.
Better you than me.
Don't know.
This
Lyrical
is what I was
genius.
cracked up to be.
Yeah, it'd just be like I don't know. We're all in this together, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I was fucking lied to. This doesn't happen.
It's a bit shit.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, thank you so much, man, for the chat. I appreciate it. Anything that you wish to plug before we call it a night?
We're pretty much on everything.
Yeah, just
Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you name it.
And is it all just at Sathamel?
More or less.
Yeah, at Sathamel, or if you search Sathamel Opposition to Life, that's our latest EP. Check it out on Bandcamp, YouTube, Spotify, like we said. All our merch is on our Bandcamp page, just sathamel.bandcamp.com. And yeah, hopefully we'll catch some of you on the road.
And if anyone who is watching who wishes to try and book the band, where can they find you? Or is it just a best of message you on socials?
So there's you can message us on our Facebook or Instagram pages, or just email sathamel@outlook.com.
Cool beans. No worries, guys. All links, of course, will be in the description of the video. And I will leave you with the Get Heavy UK creed. The rules of the pit are the rules for life. When someone falls, we'll pick them up.